When you test a workflow in a sample project, your ultimate goal is to simulate the exact sequence of events that would happen with a real client. That means if a real client would start by filling out a lead capture form, you should kick off your test by filling out that lead capture form. If a client would start by scheduling an appointment, begin your test by scheduling an appointment with that scheduler. First and foremost, you'll be double checking that these entry points are set up correctly to create a project and begin the appropriate workflow. For a lead capture form, you'll need to connect your workflow template to the lead capture before you begin to test. This will either be in the settings as the default workflow or as one of the options in a workflow element. Once you're ready, save the template, click on the Share button, copy the direct link, and open your lead capture form in a new tab. There's no need to embed the form on your website in order to test it. For a public scheduler, you'll need to check the settings in your template before getting started. Make sure there's a lead capture form attached and set any confirmation or reminder emails as needed. Save your changes and click on the link icon to copy the direct link and open the scheduler in a new tab. Here's a tip. If you're still on a trial, use the same exact email address each time you run a test. Otherwise, you will use up multiple trial clients from your 3-client limit. Another thing that you're looking to check is how you've set up mapped fields on your lead capture form. That's why it's important to follow the exact same steps your client would by starting with the lead capture instead of creating a project manually. Ideally, all of the mapped fields will collect and store information correctly once a new project is created. If you notice an issue, it may have to do with your client profile under the address book. The most important part of a client profile is the email address. Once an email address is entered into the address book, Dubsado will recognize it going forward and always tie that email address back to the original information on file. For example, if you already have a name, phone number, and email address on file, and then fill out the lead capture form using a different name, a different phone number, and the same email, the client profile in your address book will not change. It works this way for security reasons, since it prevents real clients from making additions or updates to an existing client profile. It does cause some confusion when you're testing, however, when you might want to use multiple personas at once. If you run into issues, try removing yourself completely from the address book. Then you'll be able to start fresh. Just a heads up, if you are still on a trial while testing, deleting a client will not free up another client for you to use on your trial. Instead of deleting clients, you can manually add or adjust information on an existing client profile as needed. One final note for preparing to test your workflows. Always start with a fresh project when you start a new test. The invoices, forms, schedulers, and project date left over on an old test project can interfere with your new test. Starting with a fresh project will ensure that your test is as accurate as possible. Don't worry about creating too many test projects. You'll be able to archive or delete them when you're finished testing. Here's a tip. You may want to remove any fake payments and fake invoices from a sample project before archiving so that your books are accurate.